So let us understand this example and we'll try to integrate Hibernate in a Spring now. So Hibernate with Spring, or I can say integrating Hibernate in a Spring. So what we'll do here, we'll just create a project, give a name as Spring with ORM using Hibernate, and add a package com.isaac, okay, and then add Hibernate capabilities, okay, and Spring capabilities to project as selected here. So look at here, the Hibernate capabilities has come, and Spring core libraries has come, right? You must select this two Spring 2.0 persistent JDBC libraries and JDO libraries. So you must select this libraries once you're adding these capabilities here. After adding, let us create a three class: person, DAO, and manager. So if I create person, so let us say person.java is having the code ID, first name and last name. This person object will try to persist in our database by using Hibernate in a Spring. So we'll select this, I'll just say getter setter method for these three properties: ID, first name and last name, right? And next, look at this whole code of person here. That person is having these three properties. It is a type of integer, which is the ID. Second is the first name, last name, right? And there's a getter setter method for all. We are having a toString method which is just returning the whole ID, first name, last name, and some concatenation has been done here. So it will display once I say person P and I want to display P, so this toString will get invoked and it will display ID, person name and last name, first name and last name of that particular person. Okay, so and the next is what we are making: one person dog class here which is using one Hibernate template. This is from the Spring framework, Hibernate template. So we are creating object for that, and then we are saying here a set method for Hibernate template. Okay, and here I have a load, update and save method. So we have customized this method: save method, update method and load. Once I call from this object load, okay, it will load the particular ID I'll pass and it will load the person object. If I say update, so that will get updated. If I say save, that will get inserted. So we have just written some of the methods: load, update and save in the person DAO, which will call in the one of the manager class which we have. You can see this here. What we are doing in the manager class, we are having main method, right? And in the main method we are just saying bin factory and getting the class path resource application context.xml. So this context.xml will have the configuration. I'll show you what are the things inside that. But we are creating a person DAO object, right? And then bin.get bin pDAO. So this is my ID which we have in application context.xml. Now there's a one person class, creating object of that. What we are doing here, we are saying p.set ID, set name and set first name and set last name. So we are setting the values with the person, right? And then we are doing p.save. So it will create one record, it will insert one record in the table. The mapping and all I will explain to you what is there, but this is the code for the main class. This guy will insert the record, right? What this guy will do, this guy will load the record, right? Load record. So we are saying p dot load. Load 1 means first ID which we have, and getting the person and printing p1. So once we are printing, the whole details of that ID will display what is the first name and what is the last name of that, right? Now, next we have to understand what here, that the application context.xml file. What is the coding in that? So we are doing all mapping here. I mean, all configuration here we are doing. So you can see this. We are having one ID, that is one is a person DAO, right? We have created a three class. So person DAO and manager. So manager is main class now. So here person DAO we have taken ID p DAO that we have used in the last slide here, and it is saying that reference with the Hibernate template. So it is having one Hibernate template. So once we create object, it will automatically, I mean, this is the explicit wiring is happening here. We are calling the Hibernate template object, right? Now Hibernate template object is defined here. So this will call internally Hibernate template, which is one of the API from the Spring Framework.orm.hibernate 3, and it is having session factory, my session factory. So it will reference is my session factory, and this my session factory is referring here, right? This guy is referring here, this guy is referring here, right? My session factory. So there's a local session factory from the Hibernate 3, and then it is saying data source. Reference is the DMDS data. Okay, so DM, it's, I mean, I can say driver manager data source, and this guy refer to this ID. See, I will just create object of person DAO. This person DAO is having explicit wiring with this. This guy is having explicit wiring with the session. Session is having with this, right? So see, all this wiring is here. Now this driver manager data source is having one resource. It is saying that there's one resource, and that is my HBM file here we have mentioned, right? Person.hvm file. Now this driver manager data source is having what? The URL, I mean driver and URL here, and the username, password. So there's a driver manager data source which is having all this property, and this driver manager data source we are using, and by using that driver manager data source we are getting the session factory, right? So session factory in turn it is coming to the Hibernate template, and then we are getting that, right? Now there's a Hibernate property, special extra properties we are having, right? So we are setting name Hibernate properties, water properties, MySQL dialect I am using. HBM2ddl.auto is a create here, and so SQL statement true, so it will display the SQL statement. So whole configuration we are doing here, right? So there we are creating object, configuration object, and then session factory, and then we are getting like session transactions. All these objects we are creating, but at this time if once we create the object or we get this object person DAO, whole dependent object has been injected automatically. So here we have described the whole dependencies of my person DAO object, right? Yes. So next, what is in the HBM? It is normal as we do in the Hibernate, that my class is person and table will be the person. So table person will be created, and it is a lazy loading. It's not lazy loading. It's a eager loading. By default, it is a lazy equal to false in this. And we are saying the ID property, which is automatic generated. Here it is a native, so auto number generation is there, and this is another two property, right? So first name and last name. So this is what we are having a HBM file which we have mentioned person HBM.xml. Here you can see this guy here at this place, we have mentioned the value equal to this HVM file. If I'm having multiple XML, you can keep saying that value equal to this file, value this file, value this file, right? So it will keep adding all these files now. So I think it is very clear to you. We have created a 3 class, and then it is application context, which is having the whole configuration, and next is the HVM file, which is having whole mapping of the uh, persons, right? And now in my main method, this is the code. So what we are doing, we are trying to insert the record first. So since we have set some values here, right? And we are saying save, so record will insert it, and then we are saying load, so record will load it, and we are displaying p1 here. So this is my output. Remember, we have set property show sql statement true, so we are getting this statement display here, insert into, right? So the statement is displaying here. So only first name last name, because I did id is auto generated, so automatically 1 will come. Even I am setting 10, but it is not taking because it is automatic generation, right? So you can see clearly here, saving the records and getting the records from the table. Now what we can do, we can go to the database explorer, okay, in the my eclipse. So here you have to just switch from database explorer, and the database list will come here. So person table has been created here. If I just select person, I'll be getting the details of this table. Look it now. Or you can just go to the your own MySQL client, and there you just say select a star from person, you'll get this record, right? So that's all about the integrating Hibernate with Spring.